Welcome to Psalm 29, the voice of the Lord. It begins, Psalmos to David, as most of them have, a psalm attributed to David. Exodiu, the Exodus, or a holiday recess where people leave of the tent. And whatever that is, it begins, bring to the Lord, O sons of God. That's interesting that sons of God were called sons of God. Are there, now, is it talking about somebody else, sons of God, or is it talking about to the people at the time? There were believers, and they're called sons of God. Just as Jesus is the Son of God, the monogenes, the only born Son. But we are apparently sons of God, which is pretty much amazing because other religions, if you said that, they would call that blasphemy because one major religion doesn't believe that God had a son, that he is a God such as that he would he would be way above all of the things of the earth. People, God, sons, and everybody. So they would have a hard time with this. But being sons of God goes back here into the Old Testament, 29:1. Bring to the Lord, O sons of God. Bring to the Lord offspring of rams. Now, it could be the priesthood here, but let's not get too particular. Bring to the Lord offspring of rams for sacrifice. Bring to the Lord glory and honor. The doxology in the liturgy of some churches is the glory, the words of glory, doxology. And honor, Timmy has to do with honor. The name Timothy, Tim, is honor. Glory, which would be, it takes a physical form, actually, especially with Moses when he came down off the mountain. He was glowing with the glory of God, that God has some type of way, we could call it a radiation of sorts. Jesus, when he was transformed, metamorphosized on the high mountain, he was, the glory shone there. And God has a glory. Our glory is more of a situational. A person can have a glorious victory, things like that. But we don't have this physical glowing as it was in the Old Testament with Moses or Jesus. But I believe we do have glory. But this is bringing the glory and the honor. So giving God the glory, telling people who he is, would be a way of glorifying. That is what another word that comes from this, to glorify. And honor. And honoring somebody would be giving them, in the military, you give them a medal. Well, giving God a medal isn't going to work, but giving the honor to God that he has done great things. Bring to the Lord glory to his name, or his title. We went through that so many places, but the Lord, Kyrio, is a title. Do obeisance to the Lord in his holy courtyard. So when the people would go into the courtyard, they'd all go down on their knees, as the Muslims do with their prayer rugs. And it's called doing obeisance, where you bow down to a higher authority. King James translated that into worship, and the word worship changed in English to have worship services where you play instruments and sing. Those are really should be called praise services. Worship shouldn't. It's an old English word, not a very good one for the meanings of the original intent in the Bible. So doing obeisance to the Lord in this holy courtyard. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The glory of God thunders. And the waters at the very beginning appeared, and then they were separated when the land appeared. God is upon the waters at the very beginning in Genesis. And then later than when the children of Israel were in Egypt, which talks about God in with the waters of the Nile River and instructing Moses to put his staff on it and so forth. And then later with the Red Sea, putting his staff and dividing the Red Sea, those are all waters. And then there goes into the waters of the wilderness. The waters were something to the people very important in the Middle East because they don't have a lot of water. Where I live here in Newport, Oregon, we have a lot of water. But we're going through a giant drought in the southern part of the United States, southwest. But yet the waters are way more than just what's on the ground and under the ground. It says in 2 Samuel 22:12, and he placed darkness for his concealment, that is God. Round about his tent was darkness of waters, thickened in the clouds of air. Now, whatever that is, maybe we'll find out. Someday we'll see it. But right now, it says, while we are given the information that we have here. And then in Revelation 14:2, it says, and I heard a sound from out of the heaven, that was John, as a sound of many waters, and as a sound of great thunder. And here we got the thunder and the waters. And the sound which I heard was as harpists harping with their harps. Ooh, harpists harping with their harps. Now, this is what it's saying, what that sound was, were the sound of the waters. But here it's not talking about the sound, it's just talking about where the Lord is, and wherever it is, there's the water. The voice of the Lord is in strength. Now, the sound of the Lord, phone can be either sound or voice, depending on the context. Generally, when it's a person, it's a sound, so it's a voice, or if it's non-human or animal, then it would be the sound. Non-human would work, animals would be the sound. They don't really have a voice. But the voice is in strength. The sound is in strength. It could be loud, or if it was the voice, whatever it's saying is strong. The voice of the Lord is in majesty. Megalopropia, I love that word. Majesty. And majesty is generally tied into royalty, with the king coming and all the majesty of the music and the people and the horns and the army and so forth. The cannons going off. Majesty. The voice of the Lord is in majesty. So you can imagine if you heard the voice, it scared the people that were at Mount Sinai. They didn't even want to come close. It was terrifying when the voice of the Lord, the sound came from heaven, and the disciples were fearful. So the voice of the Lord is in majesty, and if we heard it, we would probably be on the ground ourselves. The voice of the Lord breaking cedars. Now those are trees, could be the voice or the sound here of the Lord as far as the spoken sound, or the sound coming out from him through the wind and storms and things like that break these cedars. Even the Lord breaks the cedars. So the cedars of Lebanon. And Lebanon, and it says, and he shall thin them out as the calf of Lebanon, which I don't know what that means, a calf of Lebanon. Even the one being loved as a son of unicorns. Now, the agapimenos is in the New Testament is Jesus. And how this applies here, I don't know. It's a possibility. Even Jesus as a son of unicorns, which I'm not sure how that would fit in. But Lebanon is interesting because right now Lebanon is going through upheavals. It had a giant explosion in Beirut, Lebanon, killed many people, wiped out a lot of the city, and now there's an upheaval, and Lebanon is in chaos, just coming apart. Money's worthless, and so forth. The voice of the Lord cutting through a flame of fire. Well, that's an interesting one, cutting through the flame of fire. In Judges 13:20, it says, and it happened in the flame ascending on top of the altar into the heaven. That's when Manoah and Samson's mother saw this, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the fire from the altar. And Manoah and his wife were viewing, and they fell upon their face upon the ground. And then in Isaiah 29:6 it says, by the Lord of hosts there shall be a visitation with thunder and earthquake, and a great sound, a blast being brought about, and a flame of fire devouring. Boy, it sure sounds like this. The voice of the Lord shaking the wilderness. The Lord shall shake the wilderness of Kadesh, the earthquake. Then in Isaiah 30:30, and the Lord will make audible the glory of his voice. And the rage of his arm he will show with rage and anger. And as a flame devouring, he shall strike with a thunderbolt violently, even as water and hail being carried together by force. And then in Isaiah 66:15, it says, for behold, the Lord shall come as a fire, even as a blast by his chariots, to recompense punishment and rage, and being contemptuously rejected in a flame of fire. Now, I thought it was interesting. Pardon me. Being rejected in a flame of fire. Is that Jesus it's talking about here? I'm not sure. Could be. And Kadesh is a place, I believe, that the Jews, when they went into the, wouldn't go into the wilderness, they wouldn't go into the promised land, ended up in Kadesh for many years, almost 39 years. And the Lord shall shake the wilderness of Kadesh. Kadesh, if this is the one, it was the area then out towards the edge of the wilderness when the children of Israel didn't go into the promised land. And then God sent them in the wilderness, and that was at Kadesh. Until then they went to the cross the Jordan, then up to Jericho. The voice of the Lord is fashioning the hinds, as creation of the animals, the hind like a deer. And he shall uncover the groves, creation, and in his temple all who say glory. We say glory, so we are going to be glorified with Jesus. The Lord shall settle the flood. A cataclysmon is the derivative here, a cataclysm. He shall settle the flood. Now, what flood it's talking about, I'm not sure. The flood of the earth will not happen again, it said, because he put the bow in the sky. And the Lord will sit a king into the eon. Now, I believe this is a portent of Jesus as the king into the eon. He will sit as a king. The Lord shall give strength to his people. That's us. Give us strength, Lord. We can sure use the strength, especially going through times like we are right now, where it seems like many people are walking away from you, and the enemies of the government and other forces in the world, and maybe even ones we can't see, are coming against us. And giving us strength to get through this test, this terrible time. The Lord shall bless his people in peace, or with peace, or by peace. And Irene is Irene. The name of Irene comes from that. The Lord will bless his people, and that's us, with peace. Now, may not be on this earth. May have to wait till we're in heaven, but then it will be a peace that passes all understanding, it says. Psalm 30, the Lord is my helper. We want the Lord to help. All these different things that David brings out, helping us and protecting us and blessing us and so forth. Going through the Psalms, we find out all these things that God can and will do for us. To find out how the Lord is our helper, how David shows it, find out in Psalm 30, next video seminar. Hope you join us. God bless.